Hope you can hear me. Good morning once again. Let me confirm my audio that we can start. Please confirm my audio once again so that we can start. I'm waiting for your response, please. Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Hear me. All
Yes,
right.
I can hear you.
All right. So,
Good morning, sir. I can hear you.
yeah. Okay. So we have been on developing sites after taking our time to understand some of the CSS and the HTML properties. We started building a real website, of which we have been able to design our navigation bar. Remember, I told us that the navigation bar is the topmost part of every website that includes the navigation links, just like we have it right now, the home,
The
the
heading.
heading, and we included social media handles, which I said they are optional, right? So the only basic element we have here, in other words, what must be designed in the navigation bar are the navigation links and the logo. Every other thing you can situate them somewhere else. So my intention is to actually show us how to switch all these social media handles to be represented with their icons. But I just remember that when we get to the footer section, that is when we are supposed to be taking care of that, because that is the rightful place to actually have your social media icon displayed in order not to overcrowd the navigation bar. Your navigation bar is not expected to be overcrowded. You need to make sure that you keep it as neat as possible. All right. I know that by the time we bring in the icons, it will look a little bit tidier than this. Well, let us quickly look at how to design the body section of our website. Because what we are actually doing is that we are taking our time to develop the index page, in other words, the home page or the landing page. And then after that, we can now duplicate the whole of this landing page and create other pages from it. And like I highlighted when we started this whole design as the reason why you should pay good attention, spend reasonable time, quality time to put your landing page in order. Remember, I said landing page is the very first page the user accesses as soon as they get to your website. And as they say, first impression matter. So you can say that we will have taken one day to just run through it if we are not conscious of its quality. But this is the second time we are still on the landing page, just to tell you how important it is. So the color combination should be considered. The proper arrangement of item should also be a priority when you are developing user application, because I told us that the pages in our website, they are called web applications. They are called web application, which means that the whole of this home page we are designing is an app. But it is a web app. So we need to make sure that the interface is users friendly. Users shouldn't come here and find it difficult to locate stuff. And that is the reason why we are conscious of what we are doing. All right. So like I said, I just want to look at the body section, because when we started, I told us that a website page can be broken into 3 main parts. And if you can still remember, I said we have the navigation or the web banner, and then we have the main body, and then we have the footer at the bottom. All these 3 sections have their own primary information they are expected to hold within a web page. So now that we have established and we have seen what a developer should create on the navigation bar, let's look at the body section. Now, the body section is the section immediately after the navigation bar. Most time, the section immediately after the navigation bar. So what is the primary role of that section? What is a developer expected to create within that body section that comes immediately after the navigation bar? That is where you are to create or publish the main content, the products, the idea you are using the website to advertise. That is where you are to create the main content. That is why it's called the main body. All right. So whatever pictures, whatever products, depending on the type of website you are developing, you are given by the client. Always remember that those key components are to be programmed within the body section. Now, the body section layout is to be prioritized as well. You must not joke with it, because we are talking about user-friendly interface here. So we need to also consider how those products, those items, those ideas as the body content are to be displayed to the users. So they should be displayed in a user-friendly manner. All right. So this is where we will not talk about what we call the media query. I remember that we are yet to also complete the responsiveness of the navigation bar. So I will take care of that. So now we are talking about the body section being responsive and the layout to be what? At top notch. So for us to enforce that, that will not involve the usage of one of the laying components, which is called the card. So let me go to the page, our development environment. So this is where the navigation bar stop. So you come immediately after it, and then immediately after it, we are creating the body section. Creating the body section. That is what we are creating. Now, and I said we are creating the body section with one of the best used layout component called HTML card. So when we get to Bootstrap, where we are going to implement all devices responsiveness without us individually speaking to those elements using media query, we are going to be hearing this word card. So I am borrowing it for the meantime from Bootstrap so that we can start getting used to it. So what is card? Let's look at the definition of HTML card. So HTML card is a self-contained pieces of content that display information in a visually appealing way. So you can see the emphasis now. Display content in a visually appealing way. When we say content look appealing, it means what? They are attractive and they are user what? Friendly. That is exactly what we are saying. So the reason why I am consulting CAD is because I want the content to be presented properly and appealing to the users that will visit this website. And don't forget the advice I've given to us before. This must always be in your plan, in your mind as you develop website. Remember that the website you are developing is a digital marketing tool. So the whole of website, or the essence of building website, is for marketing either product, idea on the internet. So which means that you need to prioritize that and make sure that you create a kind of eye-catching website that can increase the person's what says. That should always be a motive while building website. So that's the reason why we are looking at the CAD. Just to explain it better, it is typically a rectangular box that contains the following. It is typically a rectangular box that contains the following. So in other words, we are looking at the component of a card. A card is a layout component, is a component in web development we use in laying content. I just hope you understand the word layout. Just like when you go to the sites, the physical sites, when they are building structure, you know, they draw shape. This is going to be one room. This is going to be another room. They are trying to define the layout of the building. So the same thing we are talking about now as a web developer. We also determine the layout of our content, how our content are to be structured. So this card now is like a self-contained. Now, if it is a self-contained, there are things that makes it up. There are components, there are features that once you see them, you know that, oh, this is card concepts. Somebody could be using different tag to implement it. But once I see the presence of one thing and the other arranged in a particular manner, I know that this is card concepts. And the person is talking about layout. So one of the components of CAD, one of those things that CAD contain is what? Images. Is images. So a visual representation of content. In fact, what brings out the beauty of CAD is the picture, the product. So let's say it's an e-commerce website. So you display the product image in the card. Under it, you give the name of the product in the same card, followed by the product description in the same card, and the learn more button, which is that anchor tag that they click on. And then probably you must have created a separate page where you have extensively explained that product. So you will direct them to that page. Or it could be a page where they are to place order, where you must have activated your payment gateway. So once somebody click on it, it takes the person to what? To the checkout page. And then from there, the person pick the payment method and then what? Buy the product directly. So that is one of the content of what? CAD. Now, number two, the title. All these we are going to see them. Number two, the title. The title. The title of a card is a heading that summarizes the contents. Because of time, I don't want to write them, but you make your note later. The title is a heading that summarizes the what? The content. Like I just mentioned, you display a product image. You put a heading. This is what? Laptop. Or maybe if it is a particular type of laptop, maybe HP laptop, whatever, you give that heading. That heading summarizes what? That content. Is part of what you have in your card layout. Now, the next thing is, which is optional, sorry. The next thing is the text. So we have a text in a card as one of the property of HTML card. And what is a text? A brief description. A brief description or summary of the content. So you do not need to say everything like I just told you now. You just give a kind of, just make sure that that description should look catchy. If you don't know how to do it manually, you consult ChatGPT to give you, once you give ChatGPT the name of the product, you can tell ChatGPT, give me a high converting description on this product. So you can say she give you 10, then you pick the one you want. Am I communicating? Please let me get a response if you are getting it, because this is a very important topic. Are you with me, sir? Let me get a
Yes, sir.
response.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm coming.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Hello?
you.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Just give me a few minutes. I need to. All right. Sorry, I need to sort out my light. All right. So we are still talking about the content of what HTML card as one of the layout elements. So I've spoken about the text. So the fourth one, which is optional elements. Optional elements. Optional element. So optional element is the learn more button, e.g. the learn more button. So there are times that you may not be interested in redirecting them to somewhere else. You just want to give the image of the product, the title of the product, brief description of the product, and then you stop here. But if you want to redirect, that is, if you have another content you have created that they will be redirected to, you put a learn more button there. In other words, you are saying that this is not all. You can see more about these products. That is why it's called learn more button. All right. So practically, these are the 4 components of HTML cards. Now, with all that said, I want to believe now you know what is card. By the time we get to the practical aspect, you will qualify all this explanation. So let's quickly look at some of the use cases of what this card. It's very important to understand this. Use cases of what? Card, of HTML card. What scenario do we use it as developers? As developer, something usually prompt us to use this card. All right. So the use case is what? The first one is product. Product. We use it to product showcase. We use it to showcase our product, like I've explained before. Right. So card can display product information, images, and prices. So that is one of the use cases. So I'm using products not because it is only used for products. You can use card to profile yourself in your portfolio website. You can just put your picture, make it round picture, then put your title there, and then describe what you do. So it is not just product. I'm just using that so that you can understand it. So another use case of this is what? Creating blog posts. Like if you are creating this blog website, you will use what? The card, because it will give you an appealing display of your content. So another use case is, like I said, user profile. User profile. You can use it to profile user. Then another use case is news article. Those that write news article, they use what? Card as well. So let me just run through some of the benefits and then we go straight to the application of what we have been describing since. So one of the benefits of card is, number one, visual appeal. Card make content more engaging and attractive. You cannot take that from this. It make content engaging. That is because it look appealing, so people will want to stay on the website. And the more they stay on the website, the more they find interest and then they start buying. All right. So another benefit of using card is interactivity. Card can include interactive elements such as button or links. Remember that lemon is to interact with another content from where you are. So now that we understand what it is, I will now pause and get a response from you if you have a question. If you don't have question, then we go straight to the application. So we just quickly see how we can use card to populate the main body with contents. If you have question, please, 1 minute for this before I proceed. If you have question, if everything I've explained is clear, fine. Still let me know so that I can move on. I see your network is slow. Maybe you hear me after some time because I notice.
Yeah, everything is fine.
All right. So now we understand.
Everything is fine.
Yeah. Now we understand.
Yes.
We understand how
Yeah, I
it
can
is
hear.
now.
I can
Now
hear you.
let's quickly look at the application of this element. How do we implement it? So here we want to look at implementation. We want to implement the card. So this is what we are actually targeting. Let me go to the front end and give you the UI design so that you know what we are targeting. So what we want is that we want to put content here, and this content that we want to put here, we want it to be responsive. So this is going to be a responsive card. So this very first one is the first layout. Now within this layout, on mobile, on laptop, we want to have card like this. So this will be like card 1. This will be like card 2. This will be like card 3. So we have total what? 4 cards. So this can be what? Card 1. This could be card 2. This is card 3. This is card 4. All right. Now on mobile, 1, 2, 3, 4. On laptop, 4 of them will display on one line. That is what? They will display in line, side by side. Then on a mobile device, each of them will take a row. So which means that we'll end up, because of space, I'm going to reduce it. So you have card 1 here. This is our plan because we want it to be responsive. Then this card 2, once it comes on a smaller devices like phone, they will fall under each other. So you have what? Card 2. That is the plan. And that is the proper way of developing your website. So you define the laptop, the big devices view, and then you also create for smaller devices so that when it comes on a smaller device, it doesn't cut off this one. So you create it in a way that Once it gets to a particular device resolution, you will define it as we go. It will go under. So which means that once it's on phone, on laptop, you are going to have one row. You are going to have one row. And then we are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to have what? 4 columns. Or we call them card, 4 columns. We are going to have 4 columns. Then once it comes on a small device like phone, we are going to have 4 columns. Sorry, 4 rows. So we are going to have 4 rows. So you see the conversion now. And then you end up having, you're going to have 4 rows. That is, this one will become a row, this one will become a row, this one will become a row. And all of them will be in one column. So you see the conversion now. So this is how it works. So this is the responsiveness. And everything will be falling in place. Is the browser, once we are programming, the browser will be the one to be calculating the size of that screen and go and check what we program that it should be displayed on that device. So I just want to give you a picture of what we want to achieve, so that we'll be coding, you will understand what we are trying to achieve. That first bus that I drew will be represented with a div, because div is a container element. You can represent it with any of the container elements. You can use div, you can use section, you can use main, you can use header, provided is a grouping element. So the first thing I'm going to create is a div with a class called card container, which represent that first bus. Now remember the logic I've taught us some time past, that if you want to create a div with a class, just say dot that class name you intend to use, which is what? Card hyphen what? Container. So once I press enter, it will create the div automatically and assign the what? The class name. Now we have to open it up because it's a container. So this is that first bus that I drew that is holding all those card content that we mentioned: images, title, description, and then the optional element, the lemma. So inside this, I will create another div, and that div will carry a class just card. That is the div, like those individual boxes that I drew inside the first one. Is the one I want to also represent with a div, and the class will be card. So I will just say card, and also press enter. Then open it up. So make sure that you understand the algorithm or the flow charts. It's very simple. Always know that when you are dealing with card layout, there will always be the first container. Then that first container is one that will hold all the cards. Then there will always be individual card, and inside individual card, you have the image, the title, the description, the optional element, which is the lemma. So once you have that at the back of your mind, you can always start your coding without looking, because you already know the format. Now, the first thing I'm going to add inside this, like we described, is the image. So remember, we said one of the first elements of a card is image. Now, you must have added all your image in your folder. Let me see. I have one image here, but I think I need to add more picture so that it will make more sense, because that picture is just a logo. So let me check where I have this particular site. I don't know whether I have it on desktop. Let me just check the URL so that I can add more images. EN web class. Okay, I have it in document. So let me quickly drop some pictures there. Okay, so let's say we are creating for, it's part of what we need to learn. Let's say you don't have the picture and you want to download them. You want to download the picture. Now, if you need clear pictures, please, if you are looking for clear picture, don't just go to Google, just go to Unsplash. Unsplash is one of the places where we can get very clear and clean pictures. So I just hope that my network will be good to load it in. So if that is going to take time, I will just go and get some. Okay, so now I just want you to know this because most time the challenge we face is getting clear picture. You see a client telling you that the pictures are blurred. So as a developer, you need to know websites where you can get clean picture. There are some sites where you have to pay. I think Freepik, you can go to Freepik. Even here you have to pay because somebody have used quality device to snap those picture, and then you just come in to pick them. You may have to pay. So once you get here, you type the kind of picture. Let's say this is about computer training. So I would say computer training images. So once I hit enter, I'm going to get different pictures. Some of them are pro, the ones I have to pay for, the ones I can pick free. So let me just wait a little. Just want you to know how to work with this website. So still you're taking time. Network is not favorable this morning. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that, let me say I want to take some pictures in there. I have some pictures that I can. So pictures in pictures. Okay, so let me just take one of these. Internet. I want to take these 3 pictures. So remember the folder is in documents. And then from documents, we locate EHN websites. I hope I should be able to find this easily. Say not document, we discover it. Where is it? Okay. Open it, then drop the pictures in your document, in your image folder. And then let me check if this one has opened. Yeah, this has opened. So you now see different types of pictures. So you can choose the one you want. So let me say there are different categories. You can say, is it computer or is it software? So you click until you get the type of picture you want. So once you see it, you can now download it. The one that have key like it means you have to pay. Probably it's one of their best picture. So the one that you can see like this one is downloadable. You just click on it and then it will download. So that is how to get picture from. This one is also downloadable. So even graphic designers, when they are looking for clear picture, please, this is where you can come. It's one of the websites that have clear picture. I use this place a lot. All right, so the pictures have been downloaded. So all you need to do is to also go to the download default folder. This is the one that just came now. So you can just copy it, and then take it to where you intend to use it. So I'll search for that your website again. I just want to make sure that you understand this process. If not, I will have moved on since. Because sometimes we struggle with pictures as developer. I think there is another one there. Let me try and get everything. We might need them. Another one there. That one must have completed. Okay, this one. We might need them. And always remember that images has a way of facilitating the appearance of your website. It's very important. Use clear picture. That's a way of bringing the beauty of your website. So even when clients do not give you quality pictures, sometimes you have to insist as a professional. You have to insist. Mandate them to get a camera person to go and get good pictures for you. If not, the website may not look good. So now we have a lot of pictures to work with. As usual, put slash here. You already know how to call pictures. Slash, and then go into the image. So I would like to call this. So let me go to the front end and see if we have the picture. Yeah, so the picture has come. All right, so we are going to resize it from CSS. So now the next element, now this picture, you can decide to, anyway, we are going to use their parent to reference them in CSS. So I will not bother classing. I believe you understand that term, which means that if I want to style this picture, why I don't want to class it, I will use the parent. I will say what? .card img, which means that I'm talking to the picture inside this. Now I'll go straight to the next one, which is the title. So the title of the products, the name of the products, I can implement it with what? Heading tag, which is what? It could be H2, it could be H1, it could be H3. Then just to give the title. So the title can be, let's say what? Computer system. All right. So the next description can be, the next one is the description. You have to say something briefly about that product. So I will use P tag, paragraph tag to implement that. So in terms of the description, like I said, you can go and use ChatGPT. Use ChatGPT to get it. Once you carry this name now, take this name, open your ChatGPT, then ask, give me a brief description about this product. If you can tell ChatGPT where you want to use it, to customize it to the way it should be used there. So these are the things you need to learn. Anything you are learning these days, you must add a touch of AI. That is the era we are now. Now, the description, I can say this is a computer set. Just that. Then the learn more button, which is the optional button, of course, you use anchor tag to implement it. That is A. And then you must have created the page where they will be redirected to when they want to know more about this product. So for now, if you don't have idea of that page, remember what I told you, you put a hash there so that it doesn't show document not found, pending on when you will get exactly the location. And then you put this description there, learn more. You put something like this. You can just put more. Now, if I go to the front end, you see that what? We have created one card. Just one card. And remember what we plan to get is we want to get as many as, let's say, 4 cards. So which means that for me to create those other cards, look at the logic. As a developer that is smart, you just copy this. This is where the card stops. Remember that you are still inside the container. So you copy only this section. Copy only this section. And then you come to where that one stop and paste. That's the second card. I'll press enter, I'll paste. That's the third card. So let's say I'm going with 3 cards. If I go to the front end, you see that what? I have all the cards. So what I'm going to do now is to go to the second card and change the image. So I will just call another image here just for them to look different. And then I will just do something like this. Then remember, I think I've called this one. Let me call this one. Then the next one, I'll also go there. Then you also change their description. So I'm just trying to save time with your own. Make sure that all the pictures you have different description as your assignments. I just want to, I think, I don't know, these pictures. Okay, let me just choose this again. I think I have something different. All right. So now that we have been able to establish the card, the next thing is for us to style it. I want us to style it. Let's see how far we can go with the styling so it can look properly. So any question on the definition of the card layout? I don't think if you have any question, please ask quickly before we look at the CSS. We need to make it look presentable. Everything is not good for now. We need to package it well. Any question? Any question? Are we good?
No question for you now. Like the site you were trying to download the pictures from, you are not yet able. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. What
Hello,
happened?
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I said the site you were trying to download the pictures. The site you were trying to download the pictures from. It's as if it didn't work. So the pictures you're using now are the pictures you already have on your
No, no,
on
no,
your
no.
laptop, right?
No. I got this picture from the site. This one. This one is from that site. From that site. Because it's still big.
Okay.
It's still big. By the time we reduce it now,
All
to
right. All right.
All right. So
All
now
right.
let's quickly look at the CSS. Remember that
Yes.
we have already
Yes. Yes. I
connected.
understand.
We have already connected a CSS file to this file as well. So we just go to the CSS and start styling. Yeah, the CSS file is already existing. So here we want to start styling the card. So remember what I told you, always learn to use comment to break things down yourself. So let's start styling. So we know where. Okay, that means we have not. Okay, sorry. This is a different CSS from this one. Or maybe maybe you ask a question. Yeah, you ask a question and I have to create another one. So I should be working here. But let me be sure whether that is the one that is connected. Yeah, index, that is the one that is connected. Then I'll go down and have to specify where the card styling starts from. It's very important. So that when you are going through your CSS file, okay, from here to here is for styling so element. So this is card styling. So remember one of the advice I gave to us the other time, that anytime you are styling, always understand your HTML code structure. How elements are modeled is very important. Now, if you look at when I started, I created the first div. I created the first div and I gave it card-container. Then followed by the try and understand the layout. So which means that this is the parent element, and then this is the direct child, and then these ones are the child element inside what? The sub child element. So once you understand that structure, you always know what to do. Please just a minute. Let me see if I can complete process that I started. Okay. So like I said, once you understand the hierarchy, then you start. So the first element we are going to talk to here, we are skipping that first container because that one is just there as a mat. So for now, I'm not going to deal with it. So I will just jump straight to this. That is, I'm not cursing because this one is just like general container. So I'm more concerned with this. So I will just copy, like I always say, always copy to avoid what happened the other time. Copy the class. And then when you come here, you put a dot first, then you paste it. And then you open your CSS code block. So the first thing I want to do, okay, I think I even style that one first. Let's see, let me see, let's style it. So you can see how I'm coming here to copy to avoid typographical error. It's very important. And then, right? So the first thing I want I want all these items inside this, not to display block, because what is happening now is the mobile view. This is how I want to display on mobile. What I want in laptop is that they should be placed side by side. So all I need to do is to speak to the first container, which we are already speaking to, and say all the items inside you, display them side by side. And how do we speak that in web programming? We simply say display. We have used it before. I will just say what? Flex. So if I go back to the site now, you see that what? The display have changed. So now you can see that you have it's not long. You have to scroll before you can see the next one. So, but at least we have displayed everything what? Now side by side. Once we resize now, everything will fit in. So you just have to note some of these things. And you cannot speak to a single element that is not a container, this property. So before you say display flex, you are talking about a major container that have things inside. So the things inside it, they are what you are actually talking about. So that is why it has to be assigned to this. So the next, what I want, that one is optional. You can say what? Flex is another property. Flex what? Wrap. So this one is a new property that will determine what? How everything will fit. How everything will fit. You can see that immediately I put that one, everything goes back to what? To the way it was before. So based on your display, you can temporarily what? Comment it out. If I go back now, you see that what? Everything has gone back properly. So you need to be checking the response of all this as you are programming. Particularly as a learner like this, you don't write all your CSS property and at once and then come to the front end to check. You will not be able to know what each of them are actually doing. All you need to do is to make sure that as you write one, you go and check the impact of it. That is how you can actually inculcate some of these things. So if I did not check, I wouldn't have known that the display is not proper for me to turn this one off. So the next one, I will say justify content. This is another property that can only be used on a container with content. Remember, I've spoken about it before. I will say center. Then I'll go and check what I have. Justify content. You see that what? Everything what? It has a way, but because we have not spoken to the content, that's why some of these things. Now, I want some space in between them. I will say gap. Remember that this is one of the recent I want space, because by the time they collapse on mobile, remember that on mobile, what is displaying side by side, we display like this. So which means that when it comes down, there should be a space of 20 PS. That's what we are saying. When it comes down, it should not merge with this. It should leave some space. That is the gap that you have just. So let's check if the gap is already applied. You can see it here. Even horizontally, you are seeing the gap between one and the other. Right. So now we are done with this for now. Let's go and talk to the card itself so that things can start falling in proper order. So I will say card. Then the card, I want a background that will make them to stand out from other ones so that there will be a focus. So I will say background color. I will just say background color of the card. I will use hexadecimal. I believe you still understand this method, F0, F0, F0. So that is just for the card background. So once we resize it, you see it. So padding, we just want some space on the inside. So I want padding of 20 PS. Most of these terms are terms that we are familiar with. Sorry. The next one is we just need some border. Border, I believe you still remember border, a kind of line framing the card itself. So I can say, just give me border of 1 PS and the type of line should be solid. All these are what you know. Then I can just still use hexadecimal to give the color. As a decimal, I will use DDD. That is a color that look like this. So the card have to start displaying properly before we can see some of these things. So I also want some border radius. I believe you understand what is border radius. I want the corner, the edge to curve. So let me just give border radius of 10. I don't want it to curve too much. Right? Then I want to calculate the width. So this is where those pictures that are big now will be what? Constrained now. I want to calculate the width. And the width, the way I want to calculate it, I can use a formula. There's a function we normally use to calculate width where you are not sure. So, but if this doesn't work, I go back to our normal way. I will say, okay, calculate 33.3 percent. That is, each car should take that space. And then I can say subtract 20 PS. So if I go to the front end, if nothing change, you can see that what? After applying that, nothing changed. So I go back to my normal width. So I can just say width. I want width of 30 PS, 30%, sorry, for the card. So if I come here, you see that what? We have been able to what? To resize the card. I want to see if anything actually changed. 35%, because we have not put the, let's apply height. I'm trying to see if we have, let's apply height and see if we are going to get a reasonable difference. Because it's as if the height is too much. So let's say height, let me use 300 PS just to check out something. Okay, so what we are going to do, don't let us bring height for now. Once we start talking to the card image, everything will be in order. So everything is, arranged that way because we have not started speaking to the image that is scattering everything. So let me just add some shadow. The next item will be the image. From there, we'll see the full scaling. So let's say boss shadow, just to bring it out, to add a shadow around it. So the shadow, just to calculate the side of the shadow, I would say 10 PS. All these values can be modified using RGBA. You still remember this? RGBA method to define the color of the shadow. Then I want something that look like black, comma 0, comma 0, then comma 0.1. I believe you still remember this. And then you have a kind of shadow. Around it. All right, so let's talk to the card image and see if we are going to get some good response. So dot card. So which means that, remember what I told you, we are using the parent element to reference. That's why we did not class the image, because we are using the element with the class card to reference what is inside. So I will just say the width should be 100%. 100%. Let's see what this will do. So once I come here, you see that everything comes out properly immediately. So all the things we are doing since, you can now begin to see them. All right. So what we are having here is that this particular image has a different, shape. This is why sometimes for you to have a kind of user-friendly interface, you can go and talk to this picture separately, go and class it and use inline so that the width will look like this. You can see this one. This one is a portrait image, or maybe based on the original side. This one is landscape, and this one look more display. So you have to prioritize this. So I think going back here, I can just, here is that picture. I think is the second one. This is the first one, second one. So I can just come here and do something like this. And then I'll say, let's say 350. I'm just gauging whether what I have there is equivalent to 350. So let me check first. Let me put height, what I have there. So these are some scenarios where you can use inline. You can see that is why you need to know inline. So let me say 350 by 350 PS. Let's see if I'll get it first. All right, so that is not, so let's say 350 by 250. 350 by 250. Let me try something. All right. So, but it's still, I think it's of the same size. This is good. It's not too bad. So, but at least you can see the shadow and you can see how the interface look friendly. We have not make it mobile display. If I want to test it, because what we are saying is that on a laptop or bigger screen, you will have the 3 card. Now, if I want to check how it's going to display on a mobile phone, you right click and then go to what? Inspect, and then you see how it's going to display. So you can see that it's not responsive. Part of this is not showing. But once we have added responsiveness, this one will have come down and everything will fit properly. So that is one way you can check. Another way is that you can minimize here and start what? Reducing it gradually. You can see that what? It's not responsive yet. So let's go on with the styling. So we are still on the image. There are a few things we want to put there. Okay, I think let us remove this and implement general height for all of them. Let's implement general height for all of them through the CSS. All of them should have unique heights. So let's add the height. This could solve it. If it doesn't, then you can go back to that. So I want height of 250 PS. If I come here now, perfect. So you can see how I sorted it out. They are now exact what height. All right. I hope you are following. Please just unmute and say something. Then border radius, the image, we want the image to have some border radius. So let's say I want border radius of, I'm calculating it on different side. I believe you still remember this logic of calling. It means that you are not giving all the side equal border radius, the first side. So that is when you call them like this. So there are some sides that you don't even need border radius. That is the meaning. If I wanted a single border radius, I would just say 10. So if I go back there now, you see what happened now. The border radius did not affect this side. It only affected the top, which is the style that I'm targeting, right? So that is all for that. Now I want to talk to the heading. I want to talk to the heading, which is the H2. I want to talk to the heading, which is the H2. Then I will use the parent element to also reference it because it was not class. Because it was not class. So what I'm going to do here, I will do the same thing, dot card, right? Then H2, which means that I'm talking to the H2 inside the element with the class card. Any other H2 should not be affected. That is what you are saying. So now I will say, what do I want to prioritize here? It's just font size. I want the size to be 18 PS. So you can check these are regular property. Then margin, I want to give margin at the bottom. There should be space at the bottom so that it doesn't touch because another content will come under. So I will just say margin of this. So let's go and check the display of this. Okay, so you can see that this is the margin button, this place, the space between this and this, so that this description will not be too close to it. And remember the formula I gave you the other time where you want to know the impact of property. Just look at it the way it is, temporarily comment it out, and then go back there. You see what happened now? So by the time you add it, then you bring it back, and then you go back. This is how a learner should learn. When you want to know what each of these properties are contributing, you write one thing, you check it, you turn it off, you check, and that will make it to register properly. So we are still looking at user-friendly interface. That is why we are trying to make sure that things are not jam-packed. All right. So that is what I want. If I want the color, I can change it. Well, right now it's using what? Which color is it using? Which color is it using? The color we have nested in the parent element. I want to change the add color. you can still do other modification. Now, the next one, want to talk to the paragraph. You want to talk to what? To the p tag. We want to also reference it with its parent element. That is card.p as well. So you can see that all these formats, what I want here is fonts. What I want here is font size. I want the size of that not to be as big as the header. All right, so I'm trying to create a kind of hierarchy here. So I can say color. So color, I can say color H666. This is hexadecimal way of also calling color. So if I check, you see that what? You are trying to like drop this one so that they can focus on, you're trying to create a kind of hierarchy. But if that is not okay, you have the privilege of changing it. You can tap here and choose maybe a more darker one and then check again. So anyone that gives you what you want. Remember that you can decide to add maybe a font style. You can add font what? Style and say what? Italic. All these things are things you can add on your own. You can add any of this on your own. All right. So the next one, we will now start making it responsive. This is the last aspect. Remember the last time we checked for the responsiveness, we discovered that what? Some images were cutting. So now I want to quickly make it mobile responsive. So we're only trying ourselves manually, but when we get to Bootstrap, you will now value responsiveness. So what I'm doing here is just to give you, just to introduce you to the function that Bootstrap uses to implement those responsiveness that you are going to be seeing. So that when Bootstrap is doing it, you have an idea. But because Bootstrap actually took the hustle of us taking each element and talking about responsiveness. So Bootstrap has already put that in place, but we need to know how to do it. So here I'm adding responsiveness, adding response. Just a minute, I need to complete down to know if it's progressing. Okay. Adding responsiveness. Now, there is a function called media query. Every developer that understands what is called responsiveness understands what is called media query. Media query is a CSS property which is used to make your website to adapt to the size of different devices. So you need to know the size of mobile resolution so that you know how to communicate it with the media query. If you want to design for Apple phone, you know and check, you go and check the iPhone resolution. So instead of you checking for each device's resolution, you go and use Bootstrap. But for now, we want to program to phone standard. So we already have laptop standard by default. That's laptop standard. So it means that when we create this responsiveness, our website will be responsive on two devices, laptop and the one we are about to define. So what is the syntax? You say, this is how you call that function, at media. Then you open a bracket, then you now say the maximum. So here you are saying that when this website gets to a device that the size is within this is how it should display. So maximum width, let's say maximum width, put a column. You say for mobile, we are targeting 768 PS, which means that you are saying that when this website reduce from 1024, which is the laptop view, to this size, and the gauging is that this will fall within mobile and tablet somehow. So when you get to this size, the element I'm going to talk to should display like this. That is what we are saying. So which element are you talking about that will display? So you open the CSS declaration block, then you start by talking to the element. It is the card. Look at it here. I want you to get this once and for all. When we come back here, what we are talking to, what we want to display block is the card. So we are saying that once the entire page is reduced to that 768, which of the elements should display the way you want it is the card. That is the reason why I am going to now say dot card. And then I will next another CSS declaration block. This is the center for media what query for implementing responsiveness. So which means that this is, if it is the H2 you want to talk to, you call it. If it is the paragraph, you call it. But right now we are talking to the card, right? So you now say, okay, at this screen size 768, the width of the card should be what? You now say what? Width. The width should be, you cannot say what? 50%. That is what? Half of. Right? So let me go and check first. So let's check. Let's start reducing and see. So it's not yet implemented. So let's see. Let me use the method, another method that I have here to see. Should display. I think I should put it 100%, but let me try something first. Okay. Now, sometime the best place to check it is inspect. Let's see. So you can see that it's still not implementing. We have to debug it. So let me put this 100%. Watch out how we are going to debug it out. It's part of it. 100%. 100% means what? Only once you use the whole row. So let's go and check now. Let's go and check. Once you get to that size, 100%. I hope it's not my browser. So let me still check. I'm still going to. Okay, so let me create another device. So I will use it to checkmate this very one. So you come outside this. You want to create for another device. Now, if one did not work, the other one will pick. Just watch. So we just come here and say at media again. So we are creating for another device, maximum width column. For this device, it should be 400. This one should fall within that phone. It should be 480 PS. 480 PS. So which of the elements you are talking to? The same card, but on a different device. And on this device, we want the width to be 100. So instead of you taking your time to be doing it, that is why you use Bootstrap. So if I go back there and I resize, so let's see. I hope it's not browser issue I'm having. But if it doesn't work, I'm going to restart the app. I know by now we should have started seeing some impact of what we are doing. By now we should have. Let me inspect again. So let's check on, this is on laptop. Let's check on a smaller device like iPhone Pro. So it's not still, because by now one will have display per row. So let me check. We have actually done the right thing. So I'm going to restart it. It could be my browser. Let me put this one on 700 and see, just to do some surface debugging before we restart. I think it's from my browser. Maximum width, I think correct. At media width, maximum width. So sometimes you can debug as a programmer. Just copy this. Let's say you want to be sure, you want to know whether you are doing the wrong thing or there's any error. So just open ChatGPT. This is part of how you can debug. Let's just try that first before I know it's from the browser. If I restart it now, but I want to show you how we can do some debugging of our code. So you copy that code and then ask ChatGPT, do as if there's error. Just say what? Correct this. Just put it in and then run it. Then let's see whether ChatGPT is going to, if we have syntax error, we are going to know. So why that is, let me run the site again. Let me open it with and see whether it's going to respond. Okay, so CSS is already what? Syntactically correct, but it is redundant. Both media query do the same thing. You can simplify it. So look at what we have here. So it means our code is correct. So for example, I want to know whether maybe I have syntax error. So I can just come here. Sometimes you check all these things to know whether the fault is from you, because it can be from a browser if a browser is outdated. So, but we're still going to try and restart the entire system and see. What did I run? Okay, sorry, this is not what I'm supposed to run. Okay, so I think so our code is correct, but let me show us one more thing before we restart it. But make sure you replicate it. You see that it might work for you perfectly there. So it's browser issue. But one more thing I want to show you before I end this section is if my product layout is that per row, I need 3 products like the 3 card. And then under it, I need another 3. That is total what? 9. Or maybe I keep going. How do you now replicate it? Just go to your HTML. Just go to your HTML. Copy the whole of this container. This time around, the whole of the container. Then copy it. So that once I restart, we just close from there. Paste it. That is another row. Paste it. So if I go back to the front end, you see that what you have been able to generate. So you just go there and start changing the content. So with this, we have created the body section. And then now there's something that you need to do also. Sometime it will help. There are times that if you want this picture, this product to show out properly, you give the page a different, maybe dark color instead of white. So how do I achieve that? I can quickly do inline. I can go to the body section. I can go to the body section, which is this, and just say what style. This is inline because it's just one of it you have. So you can just say background color, and then let's just say black first. So if you go back, you see that what now you are able to focus on the product. But if you still prefer the white, fine. Do you have any question why I restart the entire process for us to confirm that, to see whether it will work? Question, because we are stopping here. So the next class will not look at the footer. Not look at the footer, but let me restart this. I want to start it again so that I will know what is wrong. But while I'm doing that, if you have questions, please ask. Yes, so I've stopped what I'm doing now. Yeah, I'll do that when I get. Any question? while I'm trying to debug the responsiveness. Any question?
No, no, no one on the
Okay,
remote.
so what you do is just take your time. Like my Visual Studio Code is, I have to install it again. Okay, I think it's coming up.
Sorry about that.
So your work, your project is to do the same thing. You should be able to be responsive there, replicate the same thing, make sure that your body is ready before the next class next tomorrow, and make sure that have you installed the Anaconda for evening session?
Yeah, I installed it, so I was just waiting for this class so I can be able to ask you questions about it. Because I installed it, but it's not showing as a app. I don't know if it was supposed to show as a app or not.
Where? How?
Like after installing it, so it's not showing not showing on my front end. Like the app is not showing.
I think it's my browser issue. Okay. What you do now is that let me quickly see if I can use few minutes to check it. Just share your screen.